What's up, sewing friends? Today we're going to talk about how to fix a gaping neckline on your pattern. I'm Katrina from KatrinaKCreations.com, where I teach plus size women how to sew for their curves. The reason why I'm doing another video on this topic is because recently I had to fix a gaping neckline on another pattern of mine. And I needed to take about an inch out of my neckline. But this time, instead of taking the inch out of just the front neckline, I decided to take it out of the front and the back neckline. So now I'm going to go over to my table and we're going to get started.
First, we're going to alter the neckline of our front pattern piece. And the tools we're going to need are a ruler, pattern paper, a pencil, in this case I'm using a pen, and tape. Make sure you draw in your stitching line on your neckline, shoulder, and armhole. We want to draw a line from our armhole to our neckline, but first we want to make sure that it doesn't interfere with our notches or any markings on our pattern. So I'm going to find a good spot to place my ruler. Then I'm going to draw my line from my neckline to my armhole. For this example, I'm going to take a total of 1 inch out of my neckline. But I need to divide 1 inch by 4 because I'm going to remove that amount from my front neckline and my back neckline. This gives me a 1/4 inch, which I'm going to mark on my stitching line of my neckline, a 1/4 inch away from the line that I just drew. Then I'm going to turn my pattern piece around and I'm going to cut through my neckline to the stitching line, which is the green line of my armhole. I'm cutting to the stitching line of my armhole but not through it. Then I'm going to turn my pattern piece around to the other side, and this time I'm going to cut through the armhole cutting line to the stitching line, but again not through it. I'm going to do this carefully because I don't want to separate my piece. And your pattern piece should be on a hinge like this. Now I'm going to turn my pattern piece back around, and I'm going to lift the top part of my pattern piece and overlap it to the bottom part of my pattern piece until it matches that 1/4 inch marking on my neckline. Then I'm going to use my weights to keep it in place and tape it down. And once everything is taped down, use your French curve to reshape your neckline. I'm also going to use this little piece of paper to fill in that little space that was left in the seam allowance of my armhole and tape it down. Then I'm going to turn my pattern piece over and trim any excess paper and also tape everything down. Now my front neckline is done, and I'm going to do the same thing for my back neckline. Now we're going to alter the neckline of our back piece. First, we're going to make sure we put in our seam allowances on our neckline, shoulder, and armhole. Then we're going to draw a line from our armhole to our neckline. Next, we're going to mark our back neckline a 1/4 inch from the line we just drew. Then, after turning my pattern piece around, I'm going to cut through my back neckline to, but not through, my armhole stitching line. Then I'm going to turn my piece around to the other side, and I'm going to cut through my armhole cutting line to the stitching line, but not through it. And you should end up with it being on a hinge like this. Now we can carefully turn our pattern piece back around, and we're going to lift the top part of our piece and overlap it until it reaches our 1/4 inch mark on our neckline. Now we're going to use our pattern weights to keep everything in place and tape it down. And once everything is taped in place, we can reshape our back neckline. Then add a small piece of paper to the seam allowance of your armhole and tape it down. And now our back neckline is done.
I have a handy step-by-step guide of everything we covered in this video that you can download. Just go to KatrinaKCreations.com/gaping neckline. And if you're watching this on YouTube, the link is also in the description below. If this video was helpful to you, I would appreciate you giving it a thumbs up. And if you want to be notified every time I post new videos, subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.